in terms of people who have been affected by Celsius's network, and right now the hearing is coming up, right? So, what would you suggest? What are the resources that they should prepare with? What are the ways that they can learn about how to get their money back? Can you suggest some
Yeah,
ways
sure,
that they
sure,
can
sure.
learn about this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, follow Straighto. Straighto, they aggregate all the motions that are being entertained by the court. And is it the judge that recently released everyone's holdings? I mean, I don't know. Did Celsius Network, did they? So whatever. What happened was everyone's holdings by their legal name and all the coins that were held, and if there's a little check mark or not, which means that they were loaned out against some of that was collateral, that was released. And then somebody else, who we've identified, by the way, will be making public in short time, then put it on Namecheap. Some hosted this domain on Namecheap, and then really broke it down so you could really have direct access to completely infringe on your neighbor's privacy. So in case you really wanted to know, how badly your neighbor got screwed, ready access is there for you. It's still up, I think, but it's going up and down. Anyway, that's a huge breach of the Fourth Amendment, and that's a constitutional issue that should be taken up by the right party. So you're saying, what can they do? Number one, check what their holdings should have been against what's being reported publicly against your name. So just go up, look your name up, and say, is this what I had? And it might be tough, right? Because we know that we're taking stuff now off chain, right? So what do you have to do? Go link it up to like one of these like coin linker type things, or like the things for the taxes. Find out every transaction inflow, outflow, and then see what's in there, and then peg it against what's now publicly available for everyone to see. Again, I want to know how that happened. So if you know exactly, let us know on DM us on Twitter. Avoid Twitter if you can. Email us, but if you're on the Twitter, do that because we want to know really what happened there, and that's still kind of confusing. So that's one thing you can do is pair up the assets that are due versus what you have. Another thing you can do is soon there's going to be right now there's a tax issue, a really strong tax issue that's happening. So where your gains in 21 and you were on an extension now due, and now federally you can offset that. So if you had capital losses from last year, okay, so maybe that's good. Maybe you're managing your losses well and you carry that over. But then a lot of states don't allow that, like New Jersey, right? So what do you do there? You contact us. Why? Because together we can do stuff. Apart, we're just individuals who can make individual decisions that can, in the aggregate, have a major effect, but we can't move against an institutional machine who's just plowing forward, right? So reach out to us. Then we have a Celsius, it's called damage report available. And it goes through quantitative and qualitative suffering that you've, let's say, experienced, or a loved one of yours, let's say, that passed away since, which is a really sad thing to say, right? But we have one verified US-based suicide that occurred as a result of the restrictions. That we can say because it was a friend of a friend. But we have others that were wives of them, for example, submitting. So we can't verify that, or it's much more difficult to verify that. And we have limited resources, and we essentially took our own funds. So we self-funded everything, right? So it's like, we need to be like, we don't have investigative journalists and private investigators. So it's like we can do the best we can with the resources that we have. But it's go fill out the form. So it's qualitative and quantitative. It then becomes depersoned from you. If that's what you have to opt into it staying personal to you, attached to your person. But we go through a verification process. This information is then aggregated on the quantitative end, and then on the qualitative end, you have the opportunity to do like an interview, to submit a testimonial, etc. This, guys, like, I know it's your tiers, but your tiers added into a pot of tiers is gold relative to gaining, say, leverage during the negotiation of the damages that's happened, gaining message amplification through the media, because the media can say only so many times, no, Mike, we're not going to go air it, or like, they'll air something, but not air it, but they'll take, they'll capture it, and then you're like, when's it going to air? They're like, we decided to talk about Kardashian instead. You're like, schmucks, you're just wasting all this time. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, right? It then allows us to then run a harassment campaign on Twitter, making them look like a bunch of a-holes, and the only way that they can save face is by putting a small plug on. Trust me, no one gives an ish about you guys. No one gives an ish. I'm so serious. No one cares. Even your family half the time probably thinks you're a piece of ish, right? This is the truth. So if you want your stuff back, you need to fight for it. You need to get off your tush and you need to do something about it. You staying there, oh, my life savings about to go to zero. And we're like, here, this is what you can do. And you're like, I don't have time. Well, hey, schmuck, maybe, not worth fighting for, right? So it's just like, okay, either you take individual action, and we just gave you 3 points to do it. The fourth point is to stop the sell-off. Now, that's the most important, right? If you're an insider or, let's say, just happen to come across some of the information that we've identified and accidentally upload it through the anonymous thing, and we just so happen to receive it, it will be used to leverage to back what we believe to be the strongest and most fair depositor's first proposal. I don't care if you're custody or earnings, you're bickering. Guys, I just can't hear beyond your nonsense. Shut up. Let the men work, right? Honestly, let the men work, right? It's like, let's get this done, because these people, like, you don't represent all the Celsius depositors. You're just a noisy bastard that made your way on Twitter, okay? It's like, let us get them their ish back as soon as possible in the most legally sound way as possible by coordinating, as opposed to trying to tear each other down.